Next, we're going to talk about the Calm app. It's an app on like iPhone and Android that you find in your app store. And so when I first came across this a few years ago, another teacher told me about how they had free educator version of all this, and it was not related to COVID. It was even before that, that if you submitted to their website that you were an educator, you could get the entire app for free. You could use it in your classroom, in your personal life, all of these things. They have recently been revamping their educator protocols. So right now it just says check back with us later on their website until the update is finished. But I want you to keep this in your back pocket for when it is updated and rolled out, that you should absolutely sign up for this app. So it works for everyone from like 3 years old all the way through adults. And it has different sections on the app. It has sleep stories. If a lot of our gifted population specifically struggle with sleep and they maybe lie awake for too long because they can't shut their brain off. We also know this is getting worse because of the blue light of devices, and that if you're not shutting off the devices in your life up to an hour before going to bed, that it's hard to shut your brain down. So side note, another good SEL tool for that would be blue light glasses or clip-ons. I have some of those that I've been using since we've been on our devices a lot more through quarantine. But anyways, the sleep stories can help guide kids into sleep sooner. It also has guided breathing exercises, just like what I talked about on the YouTube page. But these are much more professionally done and really high quality. And then they have a whole meditation section. And my favorite thing about the meditation section is that it tells you some intro lessons for kids who have never meditated. And it gives you ones that are good for preschool, primary age, intermediate age, tweens, teens, adults. And so I have used those different ones with all my different age groups, and they really respond, and it's really age appropriate. And hopefully they roll out that new educator sign up super soon, because I think you'd all love it.
I use Google Slides in the classroom with students to share what we do in counseling. Every week in counseling, we add a new slide to our Google Slideshow, and it's a good way to share content with parents. So it's a year-long portfolio, so they'll forever have a thing that says third grade Google Slides, fourth grade counseling Google Slides, and then they can either create their own slide. You have them do all of the typing themselves with a few requirements that you have to title it this, and you have to say we talked about this today. Or most often what I do, because I want to spend the bulk of my time with them on content and the counseling curriculum, is I have an entire slide called fourth grade slides to share, fifth grade slides to share. I've shared that with all of them. They can all go to that, copy and then paste that back on their slideshow. Once it's theirs on their own slideshow, then they can personalize it. I put an example of one of my slides there, and this was information I just wanted the parents to know, so they didn't change anything about this. For instance, I might do a slide on anger management, and so they would say, here's what we learned today, and those things would be listed. And then I would put 2 sentences at the end. I think I do a really good job of, leave it blank, and they're required to fill that in. And then at the very end, I say, I really need to work on this. You can help me work on this by. So it's almost like they're talking to their parents and giving them a suggestion of a way that they can specifically help them. This is great. It requires students to be introspective, but it's also something they can have as long as they want it. Their parents can look at it at their leisure, and it's specialized to that child. It's not me giving them a piece of paper that they take home and show their parents, or their parents may or may not ever even see.
Will you mute yourself on that screen so I can share one more thing?
How do I do that?
Oh, scroll your mouse. Oh, you can't. I'll come over there.
Okay.
The other thing I was going to add on to what Natalie said is it was also beneficial to have a resource like that when our building shut down and went into quarantine, because she can continue a process they're already familiar with and work with them virtually. And she's doing that with our full-time distance learners as well. Next, I'd like to share about table topics. They are super affordable. I find them on Amazon. They're a set of cards that foster really high quality, meaningful conversation. I like to use them in something like a class meeting. So here's a picture of what some of the different versions are. I would start with the original set. They are the best. A few of them don't have as great of reviews, so I'd really look around for which set you would want to look at. But each box comes with 135 thought-provoking questions, so almost enough to get you through the whole year if you wanted. Sometimes we respond to it in writing, so the kids don't have to share out loud if it's super personal. Sometimes we do it in a morning meeting in a whole group circle. Then there's some other sets out there from other companies like Our Moment Kids and Parent Empowering Questions. And so I linked those on this slide. Lastly, last year, I started learning about the Harkness method. I think I learned about it at the GAM conference. And so I did some research, watched some videos. You can follow the link here to learn about it. But it's really about the teacher removing herself from the learning and the instruction, and that the kids sit very purposefully at a round table, and how they lead and guide the learning and discussion. It's really empowering, especially for gifted kids who can maybe carry more of that weight, and there are different experts, different days. So I'd highly recommend checking that out. Also, we know our world needs to get better at productive, constructive disagreements and dialogue. And so Harkness method also teaches that it's really okay to disagree and how to do that respectfully. Do you want to share what your family does with table topics on?
So because I'm a counselor and it's just part of who I am, no matter where I am in my life, I first took a table topics set of cards on family vacation where we drove to Florida. So we had several hours in the car, and I'm sure I got eye rolls in the beginning, but ultimately now my kids, husband, whoever rides with us, love these cards because it's a fun way to have a conversation that sometimes ends up taking hours, and you learn something about how people think that you think you know really well anyway. So it can be a really fun thing to do with people that you already know too. Calming kits is something that we use at our schools, and we learned this from our Trauma Smart education, and they're just small tubs of calming tools for students, and we put them at different places in the classroom. It can be in the back corner, it can be at your table, your group, wherever is convenient for you. The calming kits would include something like fidgets or something you can watch the glitter down. So imagine something that would help you self-regulate. So we know with SEL it's so important because kids are coming to us less and less prepared or able to regulate their own emotions. They're either too much up here or too much down here. So a calming kit is just a tool, not a toy, even though I do clarify with kids. Yes, I know these are actually all toys, but the way you're going to use them in the calming kit is to help you calm down. They're not magic. They're not going to calm you down. A squishy ball will never calm you down. You have to own it. You do it, but you can use this tool. So you have to really spend a lot of time. I spend 30 minutes, maybe an hour, sometimes teaching them how to use these tools. And then rotate the items so they stay interesting for the students. And let the teachers decide what works best for you. Does it work best for you when you notice a child needing it that you hand it out? Does it work best for you when the student notices it and they ask your permission to get it? Once they learn how to use it, it works best maybe just to get up and get it. I always set the rule too that you should have something for just a couple minutes, no more than 5, because you don't want it to be a toy and become a toy. And when you notice it's becoming a toy, that's your cue to put it up. So these have been very helpful when they're used the right way. So students know they need to calm down, but they don't always have the skills to calm. And each student will find what works best for them too. What I have found, and a fun thing I didn't expect, was adults love these too. Have you ever been sitting at a conference and you're getting bored and they have something in the middle of the table that you can just, and it allows you to focus, but you're doing something for yourself. So we need these things too. We automatically do this. It may not be a formal box, but next time you're at something and you're not focused, pay attention to what are you doing and sort of creating your own calming kit.
We hope you'll come back for our last 4 tools on the next video.